Fair or foul?
It does say time permitting, so I like that we're flying through this right now.
Yeah.
NHL players should continue to defy the anti-pride tape rules. There's an update on this one, and it came quite late after we had set this question, is that the NHL and the NHLPA have actually come to an agreement, and a decision has been reversed, saying that there's no longer a ban on rainbow tape to show inclusivity for those in the LGBTQ plus community. I will still answer this question for you, though, Jerm. Should they still continue to defy it? 1,000% yes. Not just NHL players when it has to do with pride tape, but professional athletes everywhere should continue to have their voice heard, provided it's used for inclusive efforts. No one wants hate speech out there when you're a professional athlete. I don't want to see it. But what's the harm? The decision from the NHL to ban this was a bad look overall. And I don't know if it was an overreaction, an overcorrection from last year with the media outrage of who's not participating in these pride nights, what's happening. And all the media focus went to the players off the ice as opposed to the cause and the good thing they're doing and raising money for local charities in that community on the ice. So I'm glad it was already begun to be defied this season, so much so where the league and the players came together and said, this is absolutely outrageous. Let's turn this back. And they absolutely did. So hopefully we'll see more of that. And not just with Pride Tape, but also with other initiatives, other heritage nights, every type of event that shows that hockey is for everyone. So absolutely love the fact that that was defied and they're walking that back.
So I'm going to go fair because I'm with you. I don't think there should be a specific month or a night. I feel like if you want to wear a wristband or hockey tape, and this goes beyond sports, if you want to wear socks or just something, I'm not asking you to decorate your helmet or put a huge patch on your jersey, but if you want to wear a wristband or something, on your shoes, I think that should be allowed. So that's fair.
All right, Jerm, fair or foul? Bryce Harper is the modern day face of baseball.
Absolutely fair. Absolutely. He's not only one of the best players in the league, he is one of the most charismatic, one of the most recognizable. He plays for a big market baseball city that's successful. And I think he's just somebody that keeps interest in the game. So, I'm going to go ahead and say fair.
I'm going to say foul for two reasons. Now, you said something very important, and that's charismatic. And I do think it's important for the face of any sport to be charismatic. And I'm not saying Bryce Harper isn't. I'm just saying that there is a charismatic individual that can also be the face of baseball. And there's a huge slugger juggernaut and Aaron Judge. Not to mention, he has some accolades to back it up. I'm not talking rings. I am talking personal accomplishments with holding home run records and going from there. Now, I will say, honorable mention, and we've talked about this before, but we've also talked about, since he's missing a little bit of, the charisma, so to speak, and maybe publicist, Shohei, there's no reason why Shohei Ohtani shouldn't be the guy for baseball. He does it all. He's this generation's Babe Ruth, and someone in MLB should put him in front of everyone, 100%. So, look, nothing against Bryce Harper. I'm going foul on that one.
The only reason I'll say no to Shohei, because he has a little bit of Nikola Jokic in him. I think that he is so focused on the sport, and he doesn't really care about that. That it's hard. And yes, you can't ignore the fact that he's not American, doesn't speak English very well. Shohei is the best player in baseball. Yeah, to me, no doubt. He's probably the best player I've ever seen in terms of the actual skill of baseball. But to be the face, you have to be marketable, and I don't think Shohei has nailed that just yet. I think he will if he goes to a winning team, which is why I didn't have Aaron Judge in that spot. And if the Yankees were winning, obviously Aaron Judge, but Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper are in the same amount of commercials. So the only thing to me that tips the scales is that the Phillies are more relevant in terms of winning. So,
all right, next up, fair or foul, Jerm? The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL.
I was going to say fair until I saw the Ravens the other day.
Ooh.
I was going to say it. So I'm going to say foul, because if the Ravens play like that all the time at the height of their powers, I still think that the Eagles, it's a Jalen Hurts thing with me, man. Like, it's to me, I don't know what it is about him. AJ Brown is excellent, bailed him out on a couple of washy throws to me. But when I saw Lamar Jackson kind of just kick it up into the next level, and just everybody else, and the running back by committees seeming to work, Rashad Bateman, the guys that they all got down there receiving, and their defense has been nasty. So I'm going to go foul.
I am also going to go foul, but I think, and this is not really going to help my argument because people are expecting me to go Chiefs right now. The team I'm going to pick just lost to the Eagles, which I know is counterproductive, but the Dolphins themselves, much like the Eagles, have a perfect home record. The only difference is Eagles have a better away record. The Dolphins split with 2-2, but the points the Dolphins are putting on the board, even for tough opponents, dare I say, is enough that if they keep that offense going, if defensively they show up for those games, those are winnable games. Now, we can sit here and argue till we're blue in the face about what missed calls blew this game on Monday, because there were a lot of them. But I still think if we're going to throw the Eagles up there with the Chiefs and the two of them seeing who's best in the NFL, I still think the Dolphins need to be a part of that conversation.
So the only reason I'm off the Dolphins train is because not Joe Buck, who does Monday Night Football, or Sunday night. Sunday night
it's
is
Mike
Tirico.
Yeah,
it's Tirico.
I think so. Or is that Al Michaels and Collingsworth?
I can't remember. Whoever it is, it wasn't.
Whatever
it wasn't
we're
that.
Swapping.
Whoever it is, pointed out that the Dolphins' opponents' records going into the Eagle game was 5-24, and they've only played 2 above 500 teams. The Bills are at that point only the Bills, and then now they've played the Eagles, and they both lost those games. So up until that game, they only played 1 above 500 team in the Bills and lost by a lot. And the combined record of the teams they've beaten so far were 5-24. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, I didn't even recognize that because I got caught up in the allure of the Dolphins scoring 70 points and their offense looking crazy, that it didn't dawn on me that they didn't really beat anybody. Yeah. And the two teams that were good that they played, they lost to. So I'm kind of off the Dolphins train. But if I didn't hear that stat from them, I probably would have been right there with you.
Mm-hmm. Jerm, fair or foul? NBA started this past week. So let's talk in-season tournaments. Are they stupid?
Absolutely. Who gives a shit? Who watches? Somebody in the NBA watches too much soccer. Nobody cares about these in-season tournaments. You can't even get the NBA players to play in the games now. The in-season tournament isn't going to make them play more. You just have Kawhi Leonard on record over the new sitting players policy or whatever it is. And he said, you can't make me play. You know what I mean? Some policies are going to make me play more games. This tournament isn't going to drum up anything. It's just a meaningless title that nobody's going to care about. And nobody, if you're a team that's in contention, you have no incentive. This in-season tournament is for the bottom feeder teams. And if it's like that, then you might as well have like a loser consolation playoff coinciding with the regular playoffs. And have double headers. Hey, all you losers, you play in the 1 o'clock window, and the real playoff games will get played in prime time. And then have that. Hey, have the loser playoffs, whatever you want to call it, and just do the bottom whatever teams. And then that's the best thing you should do. With the playoffs, you should have a loser playoff. The bottom 16 teams. Whoever wins the loser playoff gets the number 1 pick. And the draft order is set by where you place in the loser playoff. So if you're one of the first teams out and you score the lowest amount of points, you'll be the 14th team in the lottery. There you go. 14 teams are in the lottery. That should be the loser playoffs. 14 teams. And then the winner gets the number 1 pick. That's how you keep it competitive. That's how you do it. I would much rather see that happen than you win some stupid ass trophy that nobody cares about.
Well said. Well said. Jerm, fair or foul? Russell Wilson is no longer a good quarterback.
I am going to say foul only because there are some really bad quarterbacks playing right now. And I think if I had to put Russell Wilson somewhere, I would put him bottom of the middle of the pack. And if you look at his numbers and you look at the games the Broncos have been playing, Russell Wilson hasn't been that bad.
Not this season, no.
Not this season. So last season, there was a lot of things going on. And this season, I think there's a lot of things going on. Now, I do think the Broncos should probably trade or somehow move off of Russell Wilson, which I don't think they can do until at least next year. Yeah. So that kind of sucks for them. But it's hard for me to say bad when their Desmond Ritters exist. Yeah. Gardner Minshew is a guy that I like, right? Like to me, Gardner Minshew isn't bad. Like the team is bad around him. I think Russell Wilson is kind of in that, like in the right situation, he could help a team tremendously. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's bad.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's foul. I don't think he is a bad quarterback. I think he's caught a bad 2 weeks if you look at his personal performance. But before that, I mean, Russell was putting up numbers, and particularly when you compare it to last year, there's obviously been a difference. Now, granted, they're still not winning games when he's in that situation, but at least he's doing his part by comparison. So, all right, Jerm, this one's for you. Then I'll go back to my Giants one. But fair or foul, the Bills will miss the playoffs this year.
I'm going to say foul only because the Dolphins lost that game and they're keeping it close. And I think the Bills will. It's hard for me to think that the Bills are going to miss the playoffs. I looked at the rest of the AFC teams. Now, I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to make the wild card. And I just have to trust Josh Allen's excellence here. I think at some point he's going to stop thinking about the system, and I think he's going to go back to instinctual football, which is what made the Bills a threat in the first place. And I think you're going to see a more Josh Allen-centric offense. And I think they'll make it. I do. I think they just caught a bad rap. Again, they went out there and beat the Dolphins, who you just said was one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL. Again, they play down to their competition. So as the competition gets better, somehow the Bills play. And then when they play bad teams,
they just forget it. Somehow, like, whatever.
Whatever. And they look. I don't know if they're looking past them or playing down. I don't know what it is. But the rest of their games going forward, for the most part, are against good teams, and I expect the Bills to rise to that challenge. So, if keeping that thought process in mind, I think they're going to win some of those games and stay in the wild card race at least.
I agree with you. I think that's foul. I think at the very least, wild card. I can't see them missing the playoffs completely. No. All right. Giants took a win this weekend. Fair or foul? The Giants should be Tyrod Taylor's team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not about almost beating the Bills, and it's not about beating the Commanders. It's about the way the offense looked. The threat of Tyrod Taylor has helped nobody else on that team more than Saquon Barkley, who looked like he was fresh out of Penn State, because that team had to account for what Daniel Jones can't do. And yes, Daniel Jones can run, and yes, Daniel Jones is athletic, but Tyrod Taylor's running is a little bit different than Daniel Jones is running. Daniel Jones' running is like Josh Allen's running. It's full steam ahead. I'm bigger. I can take a hit and I can move forward.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor can shake you out of your boots. He can run out. Daniel Jones just run straight, east, west, and try to beat you to the corner. You have to compensate for that. So what that happens is you take one defender away. That's the one defender that Saquon needs to be out of the picture for him to do his damage. And just looking at the deep ball, Tyrod Taylor, what he does well that Daniel Jones doesn't. Daniel Jones seems like he waits for somebody to be open.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor throws people open.
Yeah.
And if he gets you one-on-one, he's going to fucking throw it. And it may get picked and it may not, but he's going to throw it towards that sideline. He's going to throw it up, and he's going to give you a chance to catch it. He's going to anticipate the throw. He's not going to wait for the throw to kind of open itself up. And I think that's the one major difference. And they just look – the Giants just look like a better team with Tyrod Taylor there.
They do. Look, I agree with you. It's fair. They should be his team. Will they be? No, because you just paid Daniel Jones. So, I mean, the second Daniel Jones comes back, it's going to be back to him again too. But to your point, Tyrod, with that threat of being so mobile, is opening things up, not just for Saquon, but also for the offense to actually do something. We know our offensive line has been a problem, and even more so now because half the line is hurt. So to not, or at least have a non-existence line, at least when the quarterback snaps the ball, he's got something to do with it. He can go, he can run, he can be mobile, he can move the ball in one way, shape, or form, and he's also got a decent arm too. So look, the Giants do look more comfortable. Now, granted, the game they played wasn't a great game, but guess what? They won, and that's what we look forward to. All right. I think we got one more. Last one. Finish it up. Fair or foul, Jim Harbaugh should leave Michigan to coach in the NFL after this season.
Yeah, because it sounds like Jim Harbaugh is about to go to jail. So he should probably – so fair. He should. I mean, if they win the title this year, he has accomplished what he went to Michigan to do.
Yeah.
And that's win them a title. And so, yeah, I think he should go try to make it and finish that story in the NFL. Part of me wanted to say foul. You can't get much better than Michigan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could have a Nick Saban type career at Michigan for decades, right? Like Saban has. But I think he's one of those guys that he needs to validate his NFL, almost making it with the Niners. It'd be a nice challenge for him. He's built up Michigan, and Michigan to me is a title favorite. And so, I think that's fair. I think, outside of this little investigation, for some reason they like to. It seems like NCAA only investigates Michigan for these things, which is crazy. But
big program is going to attract big eyes, I think, is what it comes down to.